And welcome back. We are joined again by Bobbie-Christine, and we're going to be going over an Am I the Arch Enemy and a little bit about concession. I'm Levi.
I'm Jacoby.
And I'm Joe.
And this is the Thought Vessel. Welcome to the show. As I said, we're joined by Bobbie-Christine today, going over an Am I the Arch Enemy. Bobbie-Christine, welcome back.
Oh, lovely to be here.
We have a very interesting topic today. This has actually been covered a little bit by Command Zone recently on one of their podcasts. But Joe, let's jump into it.
When's the last time you quit something?
You asking me?
Given the fact that I just can look only at a camera, I have to kind of point somebody. Yes, we will in fact start with Bobbie. When's the last time you just had to quit something?
Oh, dang. Lightning round. What did I quit? I quit relationships that are toxic.
Fair.
Those are hard to quit depending on the relationship. I quit friendship that I had, and it was very hard. And the day after that I did that, my life improved dramatically. So that's the last thing I quit.
No, that's important. Getting the toxicity that was just weighing you down out and just detoxifying yourself to have a better life, super important. What about you, Levi?
I think for me, it's kind of the old adage of addition by subtraction. For some of you that may know, I was a hammer thrower in college. So a lot of that was around the aspect of doing a lot of Olympic style lifting and trying to be strong and explosive to throw a heavier item very, very far. But turns out after college, a lot of those exercises and stuff that you do just do not equate well to the updated body. So there's a lot of exercises that I used to like to do that every time that I'll attempt them, I end up throwing out my back or injuring my shoulder. So I've had to drastically alter the way I work out just to kind of keep moving forward with everything. So I think a lot of things like snatches and cleans and stuff are things I just don't do anymore.
Yeah, because I know that you had to quit rock climbing specifically because of your back.
It wasn't my back. It was actually my hands, pulley related injuries. So basically the tendons in your hand, they get extra pressure on them when you do climbing and they can kind of pop because your hands aren't really designed to hold up your full weight. And when I'm around my heavier weights, my tendons don't necessarily get to be bigger because I'm bigger, kind of a thing. It was something that I just consistently would injure my hands. So I'll go and climb occasionally, but as far as training for it, it's just something that isn't really on the table right now. Maybe in the future.
Definitely fair. Jacoby, popcorn into you.
Oh, Lord. I had to quit a few things, but we'll go with the easiest one. I had to stop progressing in certain video games. I guess to elaborate, I used to be a very, very, very hardcore MMO player. A few of my friends and I have talked about the fact that in the past, I used to be a very predominant World of Warcraft player. For a long time, I was a very predominant Final Fantasy XIV player. For a while now, I've been a predominant Elsword player, which that's the only one I'm keeping up with anymore. I have this issue where I get very caught up in wanting to do the math. I've had to stop doing a lot of those types of games because of the fact that min-maxing is a thing people worry about. When you play Dungeons and Dragons, they're like, oh, you're doing all this stuff to make the perfect character. And I do that passively. It's not intentional. I don't sit here and go, how do I make the best warlock? I kind of go, if you put the math here, you get a +7 instead. And then I just end up doing the stuff. So I did that a lot in those games to the point of someone could go, why do these stats work? And I could break down the algorithm math and why your stats are affected by 0.37% of this stat and why it makes you so much. I got too into it, too absorbed.
I'll say, you say MMO, my mind translates that to black hole.
But you were at least passionate about it, so sometimes you do, in fact, have to give up your passions because they're black holes.
As it stands right now, the current MMO I play, it's got 17 core stats, and I have broken down the algorithm on at least 5 of them, statistically how to maximize their efforts, and in the totals of millions.
That's extensive. My God. Too gay for that.
I thought my spreadsheets for conventions were bad.
See, I think the reason I don't do spreadsheets the way you do it is because I will get too absorbed, and then everything is bad.
at least for what I have quit, one of the biggest things I ever quit was, in fact, smoking. In September of this year, it will have been 12 years when I quit cold turkey. I did that specifically, if you remember from a previous episode, that I did that because they were going to put $50 on my insurance just because I smoked. It was like, I don't want to do that. No
Well
reason is too stupid to quit smoking.
Amen.
When you look at the premiums and go, $50? Nah.
Another thing was specifically like my weight. I had gotten up to like 300 at my highest, and I was just like, no, I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep getting this big. So I did a commitment to just shed the pounds as a progress update for that. I've gotten 50 pounds lighter since August. There's that. And that's my own different kind of spreadsheets for that.
I love the theme of quitting things for our betterment. That's what it's
Yes.
about.
I mean, sometimes that's what you have to do, especially going into this. Am I the arch enemy? Am I the arch enemy? I was playing a game of Commander and had just built a new ETB Yorion deck. My playgroup plays higher power, so my deck wasn't the best equipped for the match, but I figured I could kind of test the ropes and learn my deck a bit. It was going well until one of my friends slams down a turn 3 Elish Norn, shutting off my deck. Mind you, my deck only consists of ETBs and counterspells, which was partially my fault in deck building, but I wasn't expecting to get shut down so quickly. I was a bit salty, and seeing I would rather not play out the game where I was doing nothing as well as not contributing to the game / balance of power, conceded. My exit had little to no outcome on the game, but my friends were mad that I conceded. I felt like since it didn't really have an impact on the game, it wasn't a toxic move. Now, they didn't ask it, except for at the beginning, am I the archenemy? I will also let our audience know, conceded was spelled differently on both the times that they said it.
Very exciting. I don't know if either one of those was correct.
Neither is spelled correctly. There is no S in conceded.
They were wrong twice, but uniquely.
Yes, correct. Honestly, my opinion on this is one that I've given before. You do not have to stay in a game that you are not having fun in.
I think that's true. Whenever you read something like this, I always try to put myself in the shoes of the other people at the table because we only get one perspective at any given time. So the first thing I go to is kind of looking at the other players that were mad at the player. So clearly the person who did the turn 3 Elish Norn, I guess is they were in an actual kind of arch enemy situation where they were very much in the lead and they were just kind of hoping for any kind of support from the third player. Which sounds like there wouldn't be much, but maybe there might have been like a Swords to Plowshares or something. Anything to kind of help kind of take that person off the pedestal would be my only reason why I would be upset if somebody were to concede out of that game. But if you fully committed to your theme to make it so if someone plays an Elish Norn, and I'm assuming they're talking about the Elish Norn that shuts off Enter the Battlefields. Like that is what I'm guessing the Elish Norn, I believe that's the mother of machines. That's what I would guess here. If you're really see out of the game and you can go and maybe do a little bit of shopping or hop into a new pod, I don't blame this poster.
Hear me out. If you get mad at me because I don't feel like spending 7 mana to next turn swing a 2/2 at the person with a 4/7, you can eat my entire shorts.
All of it. One leg at a time.
Entire pair. Because I can understand in certain situations being like, hey, you conceded a bit early. When you go, hey, I brought this deck, and then turn 3, they're just like, and I turned the entire thing off. You are more valid, in my opinion, to be like, yeah, fair enough. Pick up, new game.
I respect that decision. I was waiting to jump in because thinking about Commander is what I do. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I don't blame this person. I do not believe that they are the arch enemy. It sounds like they're maybe earlier into their Commander journey. And the first thing that comes to my mind is how long it takes to kind of understand the logistics of a Commander game. So while I don't believe this person was incorrect, they're like, well, you've shut off my deck. That's not really fun for me. I'm going to go ahead and head out. Hopefully they dealt with it in a way where it wasn't bringing the vibe all the way down. I don't blame that for the decision. what I would have done and what I do in these situations is I try to control the salt a little bit, which takes some introspection and that kind of thing. It's not an easy thing to do. Try to control the salt a little bit and then just keep my turns as snappy as could possibly be. It's pretty early in the game. If you're looking at your hand, you say everything here has an ETB. There's no point in me playing this card. Then someone says, I pass the turn. Okay, I'll start my turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'm going to go ahead and put this planes directly into play. I'm going to pass the turn. That's what I would do. That's how I let the table know there's nothing effective for me to do here. Because I'm in this situation, I would prefer the game to maybe move at a quicker pace so that we can get to the next one. And ultimately what that does is, and this is something, like I said, it takes a long time to learn as a commander player. What that does is it gets it quicker to the possible place where one of your opponents draws the Swords to Plowshares and you can work with them a little bit. I say, hey, you remove that Elish Norn. You're on my team. You remove that Elish Norn, I got your back until these other two players are dead. And like I said, it takes a lot of experience and a lot of playing Commander to realize that this is kind of an out that you can take. I don't blame people for not being at a place where they have learned that that's an option. I don't blame them for even being at a place where they don't want to take that option. That's the option I would take. I don't think you're an archenemy or an a-hole if you tap out of a game. But here's the thing that this person said. Sorry, I'm just rambling. I have too many thoughts. Here's the thing they said, I feel like since it didn't really have an impact on the game, it wasn't a toxic move. Leaving a commander game and turning the dynamic from 4 players to 3 players will always dramatically impact the game. There is no avoiding conceding dramatically impacting the feeling of the game, the tempo of the game, all of that stuff. So that's one thing I just kind of wanted to know.
Yeah, as anyone who's played in a 3-player game of Commander has noted, it's a definite big power shift when you go from 3 to 4.
Absolutely. Even with that as well, like may have just been user error and just you weren't expecting to see an Elish Norn. I'm sure there was a pocket of time in which everyone was playing the Elish Norn and then it went away and now it's just in like random pockets of places. I'm a big Blink player and I'm hesitant to play it every once in a while in the event that it gets stolen or cloned. Because like I don't really want to put a silver bullet into my own deck. But even if you don't look like you're playing thing, like you could probably get a Mole Drifter in play and just start chipping away a little bit at life totals. Like you can always do something.
There's just this player, and I think it's just experience at this point, has a massive underestimation of what they can still accomplish in the game.
And you never know.
Hear me out. I feel you. I truly, truly feel you. I get you. I would rather scoop up my deck than spend 7 mana to swing 2 at the person who has Elish Norn. It's important to distinguish when you think a commitment is a lost cause, because to me, staying in a game invites the sunk cost fallacy. And I've had a lot of games where I choose to just stay in and just passively do nothing. And they get much longer because everyone's like holding off their stuff, hoping that XYZ. And then there will be games where they choose not to kill the Elish Norn, even though they could, because they know Elish Norn is turning off your ETB stuff. And they're just scared of the fact that, oh, well, maybe he'll do XYZ. And then he's been playing these worthless 2/2s. Now he might have Crater of. Now I don't want to kill the Elish Norn. So I've been on both sides of that field, and they both can feel bad. As the pilot of that kind of deck, I'd rather just give the ease of mind. But I understand there are times to commit and times to not.
It's not cut and dry.
Is that a set in stone rule? Or, let's just say you're hanging out at your buddy's place with 3 other people, you order pizza. So if you scoop, you're just kind of on your phone for the next 30 minutes to an hour versus at a local game store. Your friend walked in, they're going to set up a pod at a different table. There's levels to this.
If I'm at the pod at the table, I'm going to get comedically mad. I'm going to be like, oh, brother. And just sit there and make them laugh as I start scooping up my cards, fake cards, the entire time.
And setting certainly goes about this, because if we also go into just the Magic cons where time is very limited, one of the primary things that Brian the Professor said when I was able to play with him when he came to Charlotte was against a Sax player, the very first game I played with him, where if you can't win in the 5 turns and playing stacks, I'm just going to concede and say you win because that's not what I'm here at a convention to do. And that could also be the case for this other person if they were not just at their own playgroup. You are also free to concede at a convention because it's your time.
Massive context absent in this, whether this was at their friend's house or at the LGS. If it's at your friend's house and it's literally just the four of you and you're going to sit there like on your phone eating pizza while they're playing the game, it's tough. Like I said, it's not cut and dry. I think this person made a reasonable decision, and at the same time is absolutely not the decision I would make.
That's kind of where we have to go with a lot of just what context can we even try to get into? And then also just imagine the other kind of scenarios where maybe this would have been okay, maybe it wouldn't be.
Communication is the hardest thing to learn in Commander. If I was in this position at a Command Fest and that Elishnorn hit the board that early and I was playing a Blink deck, I would say, I'm going to give this 2 rounds. If anyone else at the table can help me remove this Elishnorn, then I can do something. But if we can't get rid of that Elishnorn, I'm going to have to call it after a couple of turns.
I think that's fair. Ultimately, we'll just kind of come to the verdict here. What do you think as far as do you think this person's the archenemy?
Yeah.
That's so intriguing. Am I the archenemy is different from am I? Are we avoiding the word? Are we avoiding the cuss word?
Oh, no. It's more of just branding at this point.
Because I don't mean to play Sweden here, but I think they're not the asshole, but I'm also not going to blame their friends for perceiving that as asshole behavior. So I'm going to have my cake and eat it too. Not the asshole, but if I was their friend, I'd be like, well, you're kind of being an asshole.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. We can in fact say that there's some assholishness on both sides.
Sure.
Wear that Nicobolus crown with pride, pot of players.
I don't think anyone is the archenemy. If I were to guess, players 2 and 3 definitely lost that game and probably were just a little salty about not having a third ally. I don't think it was egregious. Maybe you're underestimating your skill. Maybe just next time, give it a try. At the end of the day, you're playing Yorion. You have a 4 or 5 flyer. You could do some stuff.
They are, in fact, a player after my own heart. Synergy above all else, even if it is super detrimental to your game plan.
Same.
All right. And that is all the time we have as far as this particular question is concerned. Bobbie-Christine, thank you so much for joining us back again for another episode of The Thought Vessel.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, y'all. This was fun.
Any final thoughts before we go?
Scooping is a free action.
Scooping is sorcery speed.
I'm sorry.
I'm not opening that can.
Let me open up the comprehensive rules. It says you can concede at any time.
I'm not opening that can.
Courtesy list. Okay.
Just go. There's a.
Listen, the rules say I can't eat your cards. They say nothing about me being able to eat my cards.
There was a wonderful Command Zone podcast, and I think Rachel Weeks is the greatest minded commander. And going lo and behold, I agree with everything she said. So,
all right. Well, that is all the time we have. I've been Levi.
Toby.
And I'm Joe.
And this is The Thought Vessel. Have a great day.
Take care.
Scoop on the haters.